Teams rise and fall. Drivers come and go, but echoes of the past always remain. Competing in arenas that have stood the test of time, where glory and failure are separated by fractions, where victories are rescued from the jaws of defeat. This is where history is made. This is Formula One.
Welcome to Formula One 2013.
2013? Going back in time. Yes, it's on easy.
Welcome to the Scenario Mode Hub. Here you can take part in a number of scenarios that recreate the on-track experiences of a Formula One driver's career. Let's take a look around. Across the top part of the hub are the scenario groups. Each group contains a set of scenarios relating to a particular period in a Formula One driver's career. To the right, you can see the scenarios contained within the current highlighted group and what medal, if any, that you've been awarded. When you successfully complete a scenario, you'll earn a medal based on the difficulty level chosen. You will also receive a score, which you can compare against your friends and other Formula One drivers. That covers the key features of the Scenario Mode Hub. Claw your way up the grid and finish ahead of your teammate. Finish at least 10 seconds ahead of Paul di Resta. Recover from a late pit stop by finishing in 18th position. Ensure that you finish within the points. Win the World Drivers' Championship in your rookie year. Claw your way up the grid and finish ahead of your teammate. Let's look towards the back of the pack, where the Marussia rookie driver is sat in 21st. He'll need to work hard if he's to finish ahead of his teammate in this, the first race of the season.
Let's do it.
We need to pass Jules today. You're both rookies, but he has out-qualified you. Show the team who's number one. your first ever Grand Prix today. Let's impress the team by finishing ahead of your teammate. You've damaged the front wing. It's only minor, so stay out. Keep to the original pit strategy. Was illegal. Return the position. Great pace. Jules is only 2 cars ahead now. Keep pushing. Just watch the aggression when you're overtaking. We don't want to lose places because of a penalty. Jules is the next car ahead. Push, you can take him.
It's always disappointing to see an underdog situation go sour, but sometimes that's just the nature of the sport.
We need to pass Jules today. You're both rookies, but he has out-qualified you. Show the team who's number one. Looks like the stewards have awarded you a time penalty. There's some debris on your tyres. You'll struggle for grip until they clear.
Out of all the results today, one lingers more than any. The team which had set themselves such clear goals at the start were inevitably let down by the man behind the wheel.
So, your first ever Grand Prix today. Let's impress the team by finishing ahead of your teammate. You've taken some slight damage to the front wing. You should be okay to stay out. We've been given a time penalty. It'll be added to your time at the end of the session. Let's try to be a bit more careful with our overtaking. We don't want to be given a penalty.
Okay, so start again.
Welcome to Formula One 2013. Hello and welcome to the fabulous Yas Marina circuit here in Abu Dhabi, the location for this year's Young Driver Test. Over the next 2 days, we'll go behind the scenes as we watch the teams put the next generation of potential Formula One drivers through a series of tests to uncover the next superstar. Ask any of the team principals whether outright speed is the sole requirement, and they'll tell you that consistency, feedback and attitude are equally important. Still, a few record times wouldn't hurt a driver's chances of securing a seat for next season. And right on cue, the first engine of the day has fired into life right below my commentary box. So I think we'll soon see a car out on track.
Hey, good to see you again. As your race engineer, it's my job to support you this weekend. When you're out on track, we'll remain in contact via radio. I'll feed you information as and when you need it. As discussed in the team briefing, we're not looking for outright speed to begin with, so just take your time. Follow my instructions and you'll do great. I'll just check the lads are ready. We'll attach comms when you're in the car. Okay, let's get you strapped in.
Okay, let's run through the basic controls and ensure the guys have set the car correctly so that you're comfortable. First, let's check that the accelerator and brake pedals are a good fit. Great, let's check the steering lock next. Move the wheel from left to right for me. Next up are the gears. The box is either manual or automatic, but you can override the auto at any time by using the gear up and down controls. Pull the right paddle to go up a gear and the left paddle to come down. Okay, everything looks good. Let's head out on track and complete some tests.
Hello. Straight line test.
Clear. Okay, before we start, I want to let you know that you can change the camera position by pressing the change camera button. Try cycling through them until you find the one you like. If you want to change your camera or assists, you can do it from the pause menu whenever you want. The first test is a simple straight line aero test. Head down the track accelerating past 160 miles per hour, then brake so that you come to a complete stop in the designated area. The engine is locked to lean, so it's down a little on power at the moment, but it'll give us a consistent reading. We got some good data, and you're on the brakes at just the right time.
Well, I've got a problem.
The first test is a simple straight line aero test. You've outbraked yourself there. Try braking earlier and harder. The first... Excellent work. We got good data and you're on the brakes at just the right time.
Modern Formula One cars have around 750 brake horsepower being sent to the rear wheels. The delivery can be very violent, so you must be careful to be smooth and precise with all your inputs so that you don't unsettle the car and cause a spin. At speed, the car's aerodynamics generate a lot of downforce, forcing the car to the track. To work efficiently with downforce, you should put a lot of force into the brake pedal initially, slowly reducing the pressure as they turn in for the corner, as you'll have less grip at this stage and be asking the tyres to work harder. When navigating a corner, stay as wide as possible before sweeping in to clip the corner's apex, taking as straight a line as possible. This allows you to get on the accelerator earlier and straighten up the car on the exit of the corner, slowly increasing the pressure on the accelerator as you exit the corner until you're confident the rear wheels will no longer spin, at which point you can use full power.
Fire her up. For this test, we need you to accelerate towards the hairpin corner, turn in at the correct point, hit the apex, and accelerate past 185 miles per hour out of the corner. We need you to stop in the designated area at the end of the straight to complete the test.
Yes, I'll do that.
Looks like a tyre blowout.
What?
Press the replay button and use to rewind time. Hit the flashback button to restart the action before the damage occurs. You have a limited number of flashbacks depending on your difficulty, so be careful how and when you use them.
What's that?
You're not getting up to the correct speed. Give it another shot. For this test, you missed the apex. You might want to give it another go. For this test, we got some good data. Your line and corner speeds are good.
What that one?
Go. Okay, time to try stringing together a couple of corners. Turn in so you hit the corner's apex and get on the gas early as you exit. We need you to stop in the designated area at the end of the straight to complete the test. We got some good data. Your line and corner speeds are good.
Gotta watch another video?
The Kinetic Energy Recovery System, better known as KERS, allows drivers to deliver an additional 80 bhp of power at the press of a button. KERS can be used at any time in any session and can be used for overtaking or defending. Deploying KERS in the low gears gives the best return and can pay off greatly when used at the start. KERS works by collecting the kinetic energy released under braking and storing the charge. Drivers are allowed 7 seconds of charge per lap. The KERS system can at times develop faults. These can be fixed while the driver is still out on track. DRS adjusts the angle of the rear wing, which reduces drag and gives around 10 to 12 km/h extra top speed. For safety reasons, DRS can only ever be used in the defined activation points. During a race, you'll need to be within 1 second of the car ahead to activate the DRS.
Standing by. Okay, before we start, I want you to perform a quick systems check for KERS and DRS. Press and hold the KERS button for me, please. Great. Now try activating the DRS. Press it once to open it and a second time to close it. Alternatively, you can press the brake to close it. Okay, you've got a car ahead of you who looks to be practicing their race start. I want you to use both your KERS and DRS to try and overtake them before you cross the finish line up ahead. Whatever you do, don't collide with them. Good luck. Your KERS. Try again.
Oh, I pressed the button.
Okay, you've got a car ahead of you who looks to be practicing their race start. I want you to use both your KERS and DRS to try and overtake them before you cross the finish line up ahead. Whatever you do, don't... KERS and DRS to good effect and we're able to pass the car.
Yeah.
Set. Okay, you've got 3 cars ahead of you. Use your KERS and DRS to get to the finish line after the chicane, ahead of all of them. Don't make contact with any of them, however. We want clean passes.
Are you kidding?
Brilliant. You used the KERS and DRS at the correct times.
There are 4 tyre types available during a race weekend: primes, options, intermediates and wets. Prime tyres will last the longest but have less overall grip than the option tyres. However, the increased grip from the options means they wear out faster. Intermediates are best used when the track is damp, and wets should only be used in heavy rain. The best drivers don't take too much life out of their tyres. This allows them to have more race strategies open to them, as well as allowing them to run tyres with more grip for longer. The best way to avoid excessive tyre wear is by being smooth with your throttle, brake and steering inputs, and avoiding sliding the car out of corners and causing wheel spin, which will destroy tyre life.
Okay.
Excellent work. That's the end of day 1.
Yeah. Day 1.
Good morning. I hope you're feeling refreshed as we've got some more tests for you to run through today. Let me know when you're ready to start today's program and we'll get you out on track. Cars prepared, let's go. Pirelli have soaked the track to test the wet tyres. Head down the track and come to a complete stop in the designated area, making sure you complete the test within the allotted time. What we wanted. You managed to stop in the defined area in the allotted time frame. Good job. All set. We want to see how the car performs through a number of corners in the wet. So we want you to drive the last sector of the lap and hit every apex. Braking distances are increased in the wet, and the tyres will break traction sooner, so be careful when you exit corners.
This is going to go well.
we'd expect. Give it another try.
Darn it.
If we want to... Nice one. You've now got some experience of a wet track.
Well, at least I got the ball.
Complete. Ready. In this test, we'll be seeing how the car handles in optimal conditions. Keep to the racing line as much as possible to avoid picking up dirt or marbles, which will degrade the handling of the car. Taken too long to complete the test. Try again, but be aware of the time constraints in place.
Go on, nearly got the bronze.
In this test, okay, we've not been able to get the required data. Remaining on the racing line is important to minimizing your overall lap time around a circuit. Let's try that again. In... Okay, we've not been able to get the required data. Remaining on the racing line is important to minimizing your overall lap time around a circuit. Let's try that again. In... not been able to get the required data. Remaining on the racing line is important to minimize... In this... Kept a great line throughout and managed to complete the test within the allotted time. All complete, we're ready. Understanding how your car handles with heavily degraded tyres is extremely important and may mean the difference between meeting and exceeding your team's objectives or failing them. As the tyres begin to wear, the car may begin to slide and lose grip. This can make the car difficult to handle and increase the chance of spinning. It's important to understand when you can drive a few more laps on a set of tyres or when it's time to come in and pit. We've put a set of worn tyres on your car and we want you to drive the last sector of the lap and hit every apex.
No problem.
Taken too long to complete the test. Try again, but be aware of the time constraints in place.
0.31, one away from
Understand. You handled the car with confidence and understanding, given the condition of the tyres. Great work. Okay, so we filled the car with just enough fuel to complete this test. Drive one lap, making sure you hit every apex as we need a clean lap. time.
Ouch.
Okay, it's been a great couple of days. The last thing we want you to do is experience a race start and then complete 2 laps. When the lights go out, pull away and drive the lap using all the techniques you've learned so far. We'll be timing you, so give it your all. Enjoy it. You've entered the DRS activation zone. Deploy DRS here to gain a speed advantage. Your current lap has been invalidated. Okay. deploying DRS within the specified activation zones to boost the speed of the car. Okay. Activation zone. Deploy DRS here to gain a speed advantage.
Darn it!
Try deploying DRS within the specified activation zones to boost the speed of the car. Okay. racing zone, deploy DRS here to gain a speed advantage. Pace we'd expect. Give it another try.
This is F1 2013. In this mode, you'll have the opportunity to race classic Formula One cars from different eras in a number of different game modes. Hold off the faster cars and finish first. With the cars lined up in reverse order, can the two 1980s Williams drivers hold off the faster cars starting behind them?
Okay, you need to get past your teammate as quickly as possible. Come on, we can do this. Looks like the stewards have awarded you a time penalty. Well done, you're in first. Your teammates should hopefully slow the chasing pack down. Let's create a gap. Debris on your tyres. You'll struggle for grip until they're clear. It'll be added to your time at the end of the session.
Even with the advantage of starting second, the Williams driver just couldn't manage to finish first today. Hold off the fun. C. B. Finish the final race in first place. Finish ahead of all the Ferrari cars. What a fantastic race this is turning out to be. The drivers are fighting tooth and nail for position in this classic Ferrari versus Williams battle.
Let's try and get past the cars ahead. Target is to finish ahead of the Ferraris.
drivers had been hoping that their 1992 championship-winning car could outshine the Ferraris today. But sadly for them, it just wasn't to be.
I'm out of here. See you later.
hold off the faster cars and